Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm your host Bob Cooper and this is the HEXPOL Leadership Series. We're coming to you today from Dyersburg, Tennessee, where HEXPOL Compounding, Colonial Rubber Works is located at. And today on the show we have Mr. Erich Felkner. Erich Felkner is the Human Resources Manager here at Dyersburg, Tennessee. Erich, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having me.
Now today Erich's going to be talking to us about the 5 levels of leadership. Now Erich, can you give us a little bit of insight on these 5 levels of leadership?
Yeah, we'll kick it off and talk a little bit about one. The first level is position. It's people follow you because they have to. The second level is permission, and that's people follow you because they want to. The third is production. That's people follow you because of what you have done for the organization. Number 4 is people development. People follow you for what you have done for them. And the pinnacle of the leadership steps are, it's personhood. People are following you because of what you are, who you are, and what you represent.
All right, so you've teased us just a little bit. And I think you hit the quick summary of these 5 levels of leadership. So you've given us a little bit of insight. Can you break it down for those who are not familiar with the 5 levels of leadership, those who have never heard of it? Can you take it through us step by step?
Sure, Bob. We'll take you through, and basically we'll start with position number 1. People follow you because they have to. This particular leadership role is based solely on your position alone. I think a great example of this is a trainer within a company. For instance, a brand new employee starts with your company as assigned to a trainer. You can only imagine how stressful that individual's first day at work is. The anxiety of doing something new. So they're assigned to this trainer, and the trainer is responsible for the success of the individual and how the new hire performs. The new hire is solely following that person because they were assigned to the individual because they're the trainer. It's a leadership based upon your position.
Okay. Now, what do you think could happen in terms of leadership and levels of leadership? What would happen if someone chooses to stay on that level of leadership?
Well, you know, Bob, a lot of what you and I have learned in the past and what HEXPOL has allowed us to learn is that leadership is an individual choice. The level of leadership you choose, it's okay to stay at that role, but if you're on this particular role, if you stay here too long, turnover could get a little bit high, morale could fall a little bit. But on the positive note, if the leader is in this role is happy and doing a good job, it's completely okay to stay there. It's going to have a lot of success for the organization and eliminate turnover. So in that particular sense, if they're happy, let them stay.
All right, so there is a bit of a positive side to it.
Absolutely.
All right, so if we've been through this level, this step, how do we know when we arrive to the next step or next level of leadership?
You know, Bob, that's a great question. The first step is easy. You've either volunteered to be the trainer, you've applied to be the mentor, and you've been awarded that. The other steps that you'll see is a little bit more intuitive. You kind of got to feel your way out where you're at in the organization, what your role is, but the first step is definitely defined fairly easily. But let's take a look at step number 2, the permission step. This is when people are following you because they want to follow you. You've created relationships that assisted you getting to this level. On this particular level, you're leading beyond your state of authority. People enjoy following you. It's fun to work there. So this is when individuals have chosen to follow you.
So now I think that's the part that I like because it's getting fun. And you've established relationships, you're building momentum, and people are having a lot of fun. So when that occurs, does that mean it's time to move to the next step?
Once again, there are a lot of successful leaders that stay at this particular step in the leadership profile. The exciting part is when the individual wants to make the next move, it's critical that they get there a little bit sooner rather than later. That individual leader is going to become restless, Bob. All right, Bob, let's move on to step 3, production. Leaders have achieved this level due to the results within the organization.
You're talking about leaders achieving results. Can you give us some examples of what kind of results are you talking about?
Sure. Let's take the example that a young leader gets assigned a project. It's a big project, the scope's very large, but we have faith in this leader. They ask for volunteers for the project. Nobody volunteers. Nobody's really ready to follow this individual. So we call it something called forced participation here. That's how they get their project started. But as the project moves on, they start hitting milestones, start hitting goals, they see progress. The project is done, the individuals come in ahead of time, ahead of budget, so they get recognized. And those are the types of results we're talking about. Then people kind of start following you because you're achieving results. And this is where people now find that your success is being sensed. They like what you're doing and where you're going. And problems are fixed with little to no effort because it's momentum in this particular step of leadership.
I see. Now, I've noticed that in the first 3 steps, or the first 3 levels of leadership, that it deals a lot about individual leadership. And then, it's when that leadership pertains particularly to you. So what happens in the next steps?
Well, and you have pretty much controlled those 3 steps. What's the difficult part about the next 2 is that you're going to rely on others significantly. And step 4, in my opinion, people development, it's probably one of the most difficult to achieve. This step, people are following you for what you've done for them. So when you talk about the them, you have to have people that are willing to learn about leadership. You have to have people that are willing to step up to the plate and want to take on these tasks. So to reach this level for yourself as a leader, to get to level 4, you got to be really ready to give a lot of time of your own, a lot of your own talents, and it's a significant amount of time to get the next generation of leaders developed. That's where you're at with step 4.
It's widely heard a lot throughout the leadership community that leaders develop leaders. But for those that don't understand leadership, why is it important for leaders to continue developing other leaders?
And continuing to develop organization or leadership in organizations, it's extremely important. And let me kind of share my story with you here, especially in Dyersburg. Of course, you know this, Bob, but I'm a 2nd generation associate here. My father was in a leadership role, and he kind of led us to where we're at now with this, where the business is going. One of the exciting things is our managing director, Shannon Smith, and I talk about it a lot, is how are we going to lay our legacy for the next 60, 70, 80 years? How do we make sure Colonial Rubber in Dyersburg, Tennessee is embedded in this community? And step 4 is absolutely the cornerstone as to how we're going to lay down that legacy. So it's very, very important that once you hit step 4, that you're absolutely creating leaders for the future, the next generation.
Now, do you truly believe that leaving a legacy and developing other leaders is what makes us an asset to an organization?
Absolutely, 100%, absolutely.
All right, so it seems like the first 4 levels of leadership will take a lot of sacrifice, take a lot of dedication, selflessness, commitment, time, and it's working on your personal growth as well as the growth of developing other individuals. So how in the world, if there's 5 levels of leadership and we've done all this, how in the world could there be a level 5?
Well, and that's level 5, it's a zero choice of the leader. Level 5, you've reached this step because you have absolutely excelled at the 4 previous levels. But once you get here, you have absolutely no control of it. You didn't get here because of what you've done. You've got here because other people put you at this level. You've done all you could do to teach and to teach others respect. You've spent years in excelling once again in the first 4 steps. You're elevated to this level because of others feel that you should be at this level. Very few leaders make it to the personhood step. It's not something early on when you get into the leadership role you should strive to get to the personhood step, because it's not your choice, Bob. It'll be those around you that put you there. But once you're there, you're going to be a figure that's actually larger than life.
Well, I think we've learned a lot today about the 5 levels of leadership, because it really hits home to what HEXPOL's culture is. And it's about leaving a legacy of excellence. And so enveloped in the leadership program of what we do with ourselves and all of our associates. That's what we want to do, is we continue to pay it forward. we take what we have learned, we apply it, and we pay it forward to other people, and we leave a legacy so that in future generations that we have a withstanding business, company, organization. And not only does this stuff help us as an organization to grow, because you grow your business by growing your people, but also it helps us in our personal lives, and it helps us become better people overall. And Eric, once again, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here today. And it's been a real pleasure, and I think we're going to get a lot out of this, and our viewers will too.
Thanks, Bob.